Earth, the one planet in our planetary system with just the right conditions to support and maintain life long enough for it to evolve intelligent life forms. Us. The Sun, the star at the center of our planetary system. The Milky Way, the galaxy that contains our planetary system. It is estimated to contain between 100 billion and 400 billion stars and 400 billion planets. Presently, there are nearly 5,000 confirmed exoplanets, which are planets beyond our solar system. 60 of those planets are considered to be potentially habitable, with environments hospitable to the development and maintenance of life. That is roughly a ratio of 1 out of every 82 confirmed exoplanets which are potentially habitable. With a possible 400 billion planets in our galaxy, using that ratio would amount to close to 5 billion potentially habitable planets in the Milky Way. Current estimates are that there are between 100 billion and 200 billion galaxies in the observable universe, containing roughly 70 billion trillion stars. That's 7 followed by 22 zeros. Depending on the statistical source, there are possibly anywhere between 1 trillion and 21.6 sextillion planets. That's 216 followed by 23 zeros. Using the ratio of potentially habitable exoplanets to confirmed exoplanets in the Milky Way, 1 out of 82, as an extremely rough measure would amount to a minimum of more than 12 billion and a maximum of more than 26 trillion potentially habitable planets throughout the observable universe. If the ratio were merely only 1 in a million, the minimum figure would be 1 million and the maximum 2.16 billion potentially habitable planets. Scientists currently estimate the age of the observable universe as roughly 13.8 billion years old. The Earth is estimated to have formed 4.5 billion years ago. The earliest life forms, single-celled organisms such as stromatolites, emerged 3.7 billion years ago. That's 800 million years from the formation of the planet to the emergence of life. Some 3,694,000,000 years later, the earliest humans had evolved. That's roughly 3.7 billion years for life on Earth to evolve from single-celled organisms to intelligent life forms. Life on Earth is extremely diverse, with scientists estimating that there are 8.7 million species of plants and animals on the planet. Life is also extremely tenacious, resilient, and able to thrive under the harshest conditions. Tardigrades are the classic example of this, a microscopic invertebrate that can survive temperatures as low as minus 253 degrees Celsius and as high as 151 degrees Celsius. Exposure to X-rays, vacuum conditions, and high pressure. Given all these statistics, which undoubtedly will change as our technology and scientific methods develop, does it seem reasonable, plausible, or even statistically possible to say that Earth is the only planet in the vast expanse of the cosmos to contain life, or even evolved, intelligent life? Consider the scientific and technological advances made in the last 200 years, let alone the last 50 years. If intelligent life does exist elsewhere in the cosmos, it seems reasonable to think that some of those life forms may have developed technologies far beyond what we presently know, enough to allow them to travel through the cosmos, including visitations to Earth. Since the 1940s, there have been hundreds of thousands of reports of UFOs from all over the world and from people of diverse backgrounds and vocations. Most of these reports have identifiable explanations, but there are many that do not, and some of those have enough credible witnesses and evidence that they cannot simply be dismissed or refuted. Wendelle Stevens was a former lieutenant colonel in the United States Air Force who investigated the UFO and extraterrestrial contact phenomenon for 54 years. He authored or co-authored more than 22 books on the subject. His first book, UFO Contact from the Pleiades, Volume 1, was published in September 1979. It was the initial result of an extensive multi-year team investigation into the controversial claims of a Swiss man named Edward Meier. Further results of the investigation were detailed in 7 additional books and 4 films. Billy Edward Albert Meier was born in Switzerland in 1937 and currently resides there in a small village east of Zurich. He claims that he has been in contact with numerous extraterrestrial humans since he was a child, both face-to-face and telepathically. As proof, some of the evidence he has presented are hundreds of photographs of UFOs. Several films of them in motion, which were demonstration maneuvers the extraterrestrials allowed him to film. The sound recording of a hovering UFO, again done as a demonstration and heard by numerous witnesses. metal samples given to him by the extraterrestrials. Several UFO landing tracks specifically created by the extraterrestrials as proof of their visitation. A tree trunk containing a hole created by the firing of an antique extraterrestrial laser weapon that Meier was allowed to test. And the 7-fingered acidic hand and forearm prints of extraterrestrials left on the hood of a car. Meier has also published thousands of pages of some of the conversations known as contact reports that he has had with the extraterrestrials. To date, there are nearly 800 conversation transcriptions, though these only represent less than 1/4 of the total number of conversations he has had and continues to have. The first known publication to mention Edward Meier was the August 1959 issue of the German periodical UFO Nachrichten. It contained a front-page photograph he had taken on June 6, 1959, showing an inverted V formation of 5 UFOs in the nighttime sky, along with his statement about the photograph. The first published news report about Meier and his extraterrestrial contacts was in the Statesman newspaper of Delhi, India, on September 30th, 1964, page 5. International attention to the Meier case began in the summer of 1976 with the publication of an article in Quick, a weekly German periodical with a circulation of over 1 million copies at the time. The article contained a picture of an extraterrestrial woman named Asket, who Meier was allowed to photograph. There are hundreds of websites, articles, books, films, videos, podcasts, etc. by both supporters and detractors concerning the Billy Meier case. Some say he is a liar and that the evidence he has presented has been fabricated. Others say that he is telling the truth and that of all cases claiming contact with intelligent extraterrestrial life forms, he has presented the most extensive body of evidence to support his claims. And then there are others who say that some of his evidence may be truthful, but that other aspects of his claims are fabricated. After studying this case intensively for more than 5 years, I think Billy Meier is telling the truth. There are numerous aspects of his claims that can be focused on to support that conclusion, but I find the testimony of over 100 witnesses to various aspects of his claims to be the most indisputable. Zeugenbuch contains a list of 128 witnesses, along with statements from many of them regarding their experiences related to the Billy Meier case from 1959 through 2001. The website Future of Mankind presents information about and some testimonies from some of those witnesses, along with additional witnesses to events that occurred after 2001. One of the earliest and most credible witnesses is Phobol Cheng, a former Cambodian diplomat to the United Nations. As a 10-year-old girl, she witnessed and experienced events in 1964 when Meier was staying at the Ashoka Mission Ashram in India, which had been founded by her grandfather, Dharmawara Mahatera. She and others at the ashram saw UFOs, and on at least one occasion she observed Meier walking and talking with a woman that she was also acquainted with, whom others at the ashram had also seen and described as a goddess from heaven, the extraterrestrial woman Asket. Another highly credible witness is Wendelle Stevens, the man who spent an enormous amount of time and money investigating, scrutinizing, and analyzing the case from 1977 through 1982. He visited Meier's home in Switzerland 12 or 13 times, spending a total of 81 days in Meier's company. He had several otherwise inexplicable experiences during his investigations. Other members of Stevens's investigation team were Lee and Britt Elders. Collectively with Stevens and the other investigator Thomas K. Welch, between 1978 through 1982 they traveled from Arizona to the Meier farm nearly 20 times, stayed there around 265 days, and spent close to $100,000 investigating and analyzing the case. In a 2014 interview, they had this to say.
We were involved investigating this case for 5 years. We made, I can't even remember how many trips we made to Switzerland.
You were practically living in Switzerland.
Yeah. Sometimes for 6-7 weeks at a time. We saw remarkable things. We interviewed witnesses, the family. I mean, we were part of the family. We were living right there at the farmhouse. Over a period of 5 years, we couldn't punch a hole in it. When we concluded our investigation in 1983, I would say that I knew, at least 98% knew, that the case was real.
Absolutely.
In the end, one must come to their own conclusion. Read the articles and books, both pro and con, view the videos, see the photos, listen to the testimonies. Study, think, question, repeat. Is he a liar? Is he telling the truth? Is it a combination of truth and lies? If he is lying, then his must be the most complex, lifelong hoax ever perpetrated. If Billy Meier is telling the truth, then the repercussions of what he has to say are world-changing, as contact with extraterrestrials is merely an entrance point. The information he relays and provides on an encyclopedia of topics is immense. From the individual to the cosmos, from the past to the future, from the existential to the practical, the expansiveness of the knowledge presented is extraordinarily profound. The wisdom shared has the ability to transform oneself and thereby, slowly, the entire world.